Hola, gringas and gringos, and welcome to
Gringos Are Us.
Expats with a Plan.
I'm Mark.
I'm Gina.
This week, we're going to share with you the money that was spent in Playacar.
Oh.
Coming up next.
And welcome back. Yes, this is the Playacar cost of living video.
Woo! We had to feel like some wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a guns.
Where did that come
Woo!
from? Woo! Okay. I don't know where this is coming from.
Channeling my inner nature boy.
Oh, nature boy.
Hey,
Okay.
you don't have to like it, but it's the best there is today.
Oh my goodness. All right, so anyway, Playacar. We stayed in Playacar. Take a look at this video up here if you want to know why we ended up in Playacar. We basically had a bad Airbnb experience and we were left scrambling for a specific window of time for a stay at the very last minute during peak season.
Without having to try and move. So we were trying to find one place that we could stay for the entire 7 weeks of the duration, and that wasn't simple. We tried everything on the Yucatan Peninsula, and this is what we ended up with.
This is where we ended up, and we ended up here because it was a very nice Airbnb. It was clean. It was nice. It had some perks to it.
Quaint.
And,
I mean, it was not overly large. I
No.
mean, basically 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room and a kitchen, and
Yep. And
a killer upstairs.
it just happens that Playacar is just an expensive place to stay.
Oh yeah.
Basically, Riviera Maya can be a very expensive place
And we're
to stay.
saying that Playacar is expensive by PDC terms. Of course, that we have now learned is not as expensive as it can be in Riviera Maya.
Yeah, there's other places that will cost you more.
Oh yeah.
But let's get into the meat and potatoes of the video. So the cost of living. So every time we get done with staying at a location, we try to pull together for you exactly what we spent, keeping in mind that it is an Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
And Airbnbs cost more than rent.
Oh yeah.
And keep in mind also that sometimes it may or may not include paying electricity in addition to the Airbnb.
Correct.
And the peso exchange rate fluctuates constantly.
And lately it's been fluctuating in the wrong direction.
Right,
but,
right.
That is what it is. So, when we were there, and when we're filming this right now, the current exchange rate is about 17 pesos to the US dollar, unless you go out on the main street of Tulum where you're going to get it between 15 and 16. But that's another story for another video.
But at the time we started the journey, my goal was to have this budget that was under $3,000 a month. I still say that if we were paying rent, this is very, very possible. We can do it.
And we weren't in Riviera Maya.
Right.
There ain't a chance, in no way, shape, or form, you're going to make that happen in Riviera Maya.
There are some people that do.
Okay. If you happen to own your own home, or you happen to luck into a very good rental situation, but if you're not already locked in, the odds of that happening are slim and none.
Because property values are going up.
Property values are going up. The price of groceries are going up. The price of a haircut's going up. I mean, everything is just... So,
living in Riviera Maya in general is not any less expensive than living in many parts of the United States.
It's probably more expensive than some parts of the United States.
Yeah,
so
in some places. But again, my dream was less than $3,000 a month budget, and I'm going to stick with that because that is my baseline. And I know that if we were paying rent, that is entirely possible, and we have done it, paying rent.
And we will find that out when we get to Querétaro. For the 6-month stay, that'll be a better indicator of that $3,000 a month.
Right.
Budget
and of course, when we started, we had an exchange rate of like 21 pesos, or something like that, at least 20. It
was fluctuating between 20 and 21. Yeah. So, we have in essence lost about 15% of our buying power because of the exchange rate going down. So,
during the time that we stayed in Playacar, we were looking at a 17 peso exchange rate to a US dollar. And that's what we based a lot of our calculations on. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm advancing through some slides so that we can speak to you on what our expenses were and how we got through it.
Well, and we can be in sync with what you're seeing. That's also good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So our Airbnb was a 7-week stay. So I had to basically calculate the average monthly cost for the Airbnb in US dollars. That came out to 62,628 pesos for a month, or 36.84. Think about that for a minute. Almost $4,000 a month.
Ow.
Yeah, 36.84. Now we didn't have to pay electricity. We didn't pay any utilities aside of our own personal things. And there was a pool on top that was shared between 4 units. And they were going to be installing solar panels eventually to offset their electrical costs. So that was $36.84 USD without any utilities.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
And this is one of the slummier sides of Playacar. I mean, versus when you walk around, you look at the rest of Playacar, you sort of go, oh man, I wonder what's back there.
Not the inside. No, the building itself was renovated quite nicely, but the street that it sat on was one of the slummier streets of Playacar. I mean, it really was. And eventually they'll probably fix that up too. I don't know.
I mean, we didn't have a private gate or anything else where everybody could just walk right on down our street.
Yeah. So as you can see, that really was the most expensive place that we have stayed to date since we arrived in Mexico. It really was.
Just to give you an idea, we could have been back in the mansion in El Tejar.
For less.
For less.
For less.
For less.
Yeah. And
we tried.
We tried. So, give you a comparison. Our Airbnb rate in San Luis Potosí for 4 weeks was $1,400. And in Mérida, which had been just about one of the most expensive places for us, was $2,880. So we're already and $800 above that.
And I can tell you that the one in Mérida was 2.5 times bigger.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, we had more space. I mean, that just was the reality of it. So location.
It's all about location. Yeah. We spent nothing on activities. You know why? Because it's too expensive here.
We spent it getting a roof over our head.
Yeah. I mean, we were not going to spend any more money. There were places here that I really did want to go, such as Xcaret, for example. And there's a variety of parks. They're not all in the exact same location, but they're all part of the family, kind of like Disney parks spread around. But Xcaret has other parks that are part of their family. And I really wanted to go to, I think it's called Senses or Senses. Now, Mark and I, for one day going to the park, it was going to cost us $300 for one day for 2 of us. I think that's too much.
And then she would have had to deal with me fighting vertigo when we got done with it. Yeah. It's one of those ones that messes with the brain, and I don't respond well to those.
No. And so we were just like, nope, we're not going to do anything. Nope. We're just going to lay back, relax, and save the money. Why not? Groceries were actually remarkably, impressively good.
They were pretty much normal.
You know, we try to keep it at around $500 a month. The reason that this really does impress me is because we made a lot of trips to an OXXO.
Mm-hmm.
And just like anywhere else in the world where you have convenience stores, they charge more than a grocery store. And we made a lot of quick little runs to the OXXO, getting a dozen eggs.
Getting bottles of Coca-Cola, getting
snacks,
some produce.
Sometimes some bananas and avocados.
And the reason we were doing it is because it's twofold. Number one, getting in and out of Playacar is a royal pain in the patoot. And number two, the traffic. And we didn't find that there actually was a Soriana that was closer. But to get to the Soriana, we actually had to go all the way down to the Chedraui and turn around and go back to the Soriana.
Yeah.
And that whole area around that Chedraui and around the Walmart that's there in Centro, it's busy.
It's busy. And
lots of taxis and little places to park.
Few places to park, and even if you're there as a customer to shop, we actually surfed around the Walmart underground. Yeah, just looking for a parking space in the garage. There wasn't any. Sometimes you can park on the street a couple blocks away, and that serves you well. But if you've got a big grocery cart full of stuff, that isn't going to work for you. So we did our major run.
Yep.
Couple major runs, and then we stayed walking down the street to the OXXO for the rest of the time we were there. So I think $544, considering as many trips as we made to an OXXO, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
So in comparison, San Miguel de Allende, again, one of the places we thought was going to be one of the most expensive places, really wasn't.
No.
As far as groceries, nope, not at all. Not even a little bit. So then, let's talk about our insurance. We do get asked about our medical insurance. We don't have Mexican medical insurance. No. We are doing self-pay, which is what a lot of people who live in Mexico will do. But we also have a catastrophic plan that will pay for, emergencies.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a long extended
trip insurance.
Traveling insurance.
Yep.
So
that is through SafetyWing.
SafetyWing. And so we have that. And then we have $32 a month automobile insurance. Now that is a Mexican car insurance plan.
Yes.
So that's all we ever have. And that came out to 51.85 pesos, or approximately $305 a month. Yeah, not too bad.
I'd have killed for $32 auto insurance in the U.S.
Oh, I know. So again, we have SafetyWing. And every time we do one of these cost of living videos, we'd like to mention that we have this Nomad insurance policy through SafetyWing, because when you're traveling around the world, well, you get catastrophic coverage. It's really hard to get a long-term plan through an ordinary travel insurance company. Now, I have heard that some travel insurance companies are starting to open their eyes to the needs of having something that lasts more than 2 weeks, because there are a lot of nomads, digital nomads in the world. But SafetyWing was doing it before any of them were, so we signed up with SafetyWing. And for me and Mark, for the two of us to have that kind of coverage and a few little extra perks they've added recently, it's $273 a month. And that's pretty impressive.
That's about a quarter of what we were paying in the States. But then, of course, this isn't regular.
It isn't regular.
Insurance.
This is just catastrophic. It's basically traveler's insurance is what it is.
Yep.
But if you're interested, like Mark said, link down below. What are you doing, baby?
I'm looking for the link.
Oh, goodness. So then we get to the medical expenses. Well, we literally just bought medicine. Yeah. Basically, that was all it was this time.
We made a trip to two different pharmacies. We went to the tourist pharmacy.
Yes.
And then we also took a trip to the Similares to get some of the things that we know are a lot less expensive at the Similares than they are. You're gonna pay dearly at the tourist pharmacies. But there are some things that you don't have to have a prescription for. And so there's a couple of items that we were like, you know what, let's get these things while we're here and it's easy. Because when you're not in a tourist area, sometimes finding a tourist pharmacy can be a little difficult.
Yes. So, I mean, I basically picked up some Cipro at the tourist pharmacy. Did find out how it is that they're able to circumvent the prescription law.
Mm-hmm.
We found out from our host at our Airbnb that the prescriptions are always and have always been required for antibiotics if you are going to a normal residential pharmacy. But they don't require them at the tourist pharmacies. And the reason they can skirt that is because what you're buying is not the exact medication. They add an extra ingredient to it so that the formulation is just slightly different.
Quite often, sodium.
Sodium, yeah. I bought Cipro and they had added sodium to it. Okay, it still worked. But it did cost me extra. That Cipro probably cost me 3 to 4 times more than it would have at a residential pharmacia. But to get a prescription
would have been another 200 pesos. I mean, we still paid more, but
not that much more.
Not that much more.
When you consider what you would have paid for a consultorio.
Yep.
But that was what it was, $40 US, and that basically bought about 3 months worth of maintenance medication and some Cipro.
Which will last a long time.
Yes, it will. Personal services. Oh, guys, I got to tell you, Mark got a haircut. $5. Shave and a haircut.
2 bits.
But he got a haircut. It was $5. Now,
paid more for the donuts in that mall than we did for the haircut.
I know. This was a little place that was at the lower level of a mall. We went to visit the mall, and that's what they charged. It was 85 pesos. That was tip included. Yeah. Tip included. 85 pesos. In comparison, where we are right now in Tulum, Mark just spent 600 pesos plus tip for the same haircut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, no, he also, whacked off what he wasn't supposed to, but, that was
the point is,
we'll discuss that tomorrow in the live.
That'll be another, we'll talk about that in the live. But $5 is all the personal services were for our stay in Playacar. I mean, we were not spending a lot of money there. We did go out to the restaurant a few times. We went out.
We ate once at the mall at the Plaza de Americas. We ate
pizza.
At the pizza. At the Italian place there, and they were spot on. The pizza was good. They were service was fantastic.
Yep.
The pizza we got in Playacar right around the corner didn't hold a candle to what we got at the mall.
It cost more and it wasn't as good.
It definitely
the place inside Playacar.
Yeah, definitely needed some chili
flakes on it. Something. It was very bland.
Needed a pick me up.
And then we also went out to.
We went out with Miguel, and we went to
a taqueria.
To a taqueria.
And our fellow YouTubers.
Oh, yep. We went out with Georgia and David.
Yes, and that was a seafood place mostly, which Mark is.
No wonder I forgot it.
I know, Mark. There wasn't much on that menu for Mark to eat.
I had to even modify my plate of 3 sliders, so I could get just 3 of them that were res, and they sort of looked at me and.
We got the Domino's pizza that they were trying to get away.
Yep.
They wanted to give that away, but that was it. We tried to order online and have stuff delivered to us. That we got a pizza one time delivered.
Oh, that's right, we did.
One time. But, I mean, you're looking at $170 of basically a seafood place, a taqueria, and a bunch of pizzas.
Yeah.
Basically. So.
Because we didn't have an oven, so we couldn't buy the frozen pizzas.
Right. Then in transportation, this is really just gas money. We filled up the tank. I don't believe there was anything else. We didn't pay for parking, did we?
I think we filled up the tank twice. No, we did not pay for any parking there.
So that's all that really was just gas.
Yeah,
over 7 weeks.
And again, we're in Riviera Maya, so the gas is a little bit higher.
Yep.
It's about $1.50 more than what it was in the state of Yucatan per liter.
Per liter.
So.
Yeah, Quintana Roo. Utilities. Okay, so this utilities was about $206 for the month. And what the utilities comes down to is cell phones. A little more. What else is in there?
Starlink.
Starlink, that's right. Okay, so this is a little less than it normally is.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had good internet and because we were having issues with a payment method with Starlink for a while, we suspended our Starlink. Now, we have one of those RV dishes where you can suspend and
turn it on,
turn it on again.
Same way we do with our U.S. car insurance. You know, we pay for 1 month and we turn it off for 5 months. So.
Right. So we turned off the dish. So we really only paid for about 1 month of Starlink in there. Otherwise, it's just our AT&T plan. It's about $143 a month.
$143.20 or whatever, something close to that.
And then my Telcel, which is a current exchange rate between $11 and $12 a month.
We're still missing about $50 there somewhere.
Well, how do you figure that?
143 and 12, that's...
Is how much?
155.
And then add 48 to that?
Okay, where's 48?
Starlink.
I thought we didn't pay Starlink.
We paid 1 month.
Ah, okay.
We paid 1 month.
That's where...
Yeah. All right. So as you see, this price that we come together with, it never includes Mark's cigars, any of our streaming services, any gifts, mail forwarding services, subscriptions. We don't include any of that.
Or the storage unit or any of those types of things.
None of that stuff, because those are personal. Those are personal items. What does it include? Well, it includes our accommodations, our activities, our groceries, our insurance, medical expenses, personal services, restaurants, transportation, and utilities. And the grand total for 1 month stay in Playacar was 85,986 pesos.
Ouch.
That comes to 5,058 US dollars, which breaks down to 172 US dollars per day.
And we didn't do anything.
And we didn't do anything. That is absolutely true. That was just living.
Yep.
That was $5,000 a month of living.
Yeah.
But the question always becomes, well, what if that was rent and not Airbnb? Because do you remember now, Airbnb is almost twice as much as rent.
And that's the formula that we use to figure out what a rent is close to being.
It's close. It's not exact. It's not exact, but we did confirm again with this host as well.
Yep.
If we're right in saying that it's almost half.
And she
said it was.
Conferred.
She confirmed. So if we were not paying Airbnb and we were paying rent prices, we could expect that grand total to go from 85,986 pesos to 54,672 pesos.
And it's still over $5,000 a month.
But if it was rent,
we're getting closer.
32.16. And that means that $172 a day drops down to
111.
That's a whole lot more easier to swallow. So
yeah, San Luis Potosi, that ran us $32.14.
This stay in Playacar, we're looking at $5,058. And what we thought was the most expensive to date was $44.90. However, if you look at that, nope. Playacar takes the cake.
Yeah, wait till the next one.
What's the lesson to be learned here?
Don't book at the last minute. That's
one thing. Booking at the last minute's never good because you know what's left over? Everything nobody else wanted.
Or could afford.
But the other thing to take heed in is that Riviera Maya has been experiencing a growth spurt for the last 15 years minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And it just continues down the coast.
Mm-hmm.
Playacar blew up. Akumal is blowing up. Puerto Morelos is blowing up. Now it's down to Tulum, and we can tell you right now from where we sit, Tulum is blowing up.
Worse than Akumal and Puerto Aventuras. I mean, those are, you can see that they're doing some things. Tulum is just exploding.
It is. And with that comes, well, people are here to make money.
Yeah.
And they're getting it.
Yeah.
People are paying it.
So we discussed that when we do the Tulum video, but yes, it's...
Yeah. And so there you go, Playacar. That is how much it costs us to stay there.
Yikes.
I know. I hope you found that informative and helpful. Look, there's a lot of people. We met people who, we met Spring and Scott. They bought a house. They moved here to live in Playacar.
Well, not quite Playacar, just south of it. But
just south, but they're in Playa del Carmen area. I think if you get in at the right time,
no.
You're like, nope.
No. No way, shape, or form.
Not us.
Not us.
No.
I mean, that's where I'm going. I mean,
it doesn't suit us.
It suits those who really want to quasi-experience Mexico, because this is really in Mexico. I mean, there's
the area
so much English.
It's not just English. There's a lot.
Well, I get that, but a lot of gringos. But it's not you just take that 7-week experience versus the 8 weeks we spent in Progreso, and it's night and day.
Oh yeah, Progreso.
And then Progreso still had some English because of the cruise ships coming in. But I mean, the difference between that culture and here, wow.
Yeah, in Playacar, what I noticed, aside from the fact, it's a very picturesque, the main streets are very picturesque, and they're clean. They have cleanup crews keeping everything nice and tidy. The roads are decent. The houses on the main drag are quite pretty, I would say.
Even the school. La Escuela that's down there by the...
yeah. And, despite the annoyance that I had with people actually riding bicycles on the sidewalk, in general, it's just a quaint little place. But at the same time...
You pay for that quaintness.
You pay for that, and everywhere you walk, you very seldom heard Spanish being spoken by anybody actually on the sidewalks. It was German. I heard some French.
Russian, Polish.
There was definitely an Eastern European language being spoken. A lot of it. It's very, very little Spanish. It's Spanish in the stores. It can be Spanish in the restaurants, but a large population in Playacar is European.
Yeah, and all of North America.
Yeah.
You have all 3 countries that are represented well. You have, there is a good number of Mexican nationals who also live there in Playacar, doctors and things like that. And then you've got a fair number of Canadians and people from the United States. So it's well represented all up and down.
But from our perspective, we came to Mexico because we liked Mexico and we liked Mexicans and we liked that culture and that feel, and we don't feel it there. It's a vacationer's place.
And it's amazing, but the people who are on vacation, they don't leave all the stuff at the border.
Yeah, well,
and I'm not talking about anybody that we really met, but you can tell by the attitudes, the stress and all that is still there.
Yeah.
That you can just see by the way that they're going through their lives and everything else. Whereas the people that live that stress just goes gone. So you're like,
it's just, but it is not an environment that we like. It doesn't suit us.
We knew that before we even crossed the border.
We did.
That The whole Riviera Coast, no, we don't.
This was not a place we ever intended on staying. This was out of necessity because of the previous issue with the other Airbnb that we ran into. But we had a lovely host. And
she was fantastic.
She was fantastic. The ladies and the gentlemen who work for her were really great. They took a lot of care, gave us a lot of attention, and they're friends.
Yes.
And she's a friend. So.
That's already paid off in other ways where we were like, we have a problem. We need to see if we can figure out how to get this done. And Gina went, I'm going to contact Fanny.
Yep.
And within 48 hours, it was done.
Yep.
And it was like,
yep.
Okay.
So I can honestly say that, no, we had a wonderful host. We had a nice place to stay. It was clean. It was lovely. Everybody around us was quite nice. It's just that the environment in PDC and Playacar is just not something that...
It's constant tourist.
Yeah, it's not the environment that we're comfortable with. So it will never be a place that will stay. It worked out of necessity. I'm glad we had a place we could go to. I'm sorry it cost us as much as it did.
The only time I plan on ever coming back to Riviera Maya would be if you do another of these festivals or we go to another one of the resorts. That's other than,
Yep.
That's about it. Once the Kia is headed west, I'll be glad to see it in the rearview mirror.
Oh my. Okay, well, there you go.
Just.
Thank you for watching, and we hope that you found this informative, even though we blabber.
Well, you could say it either way.
On and on and on.
You tried to.
I know, we did.
Yes.
Okay. We are grateful that you're watching. Thanks for tuning in. We are Gringos Are Us.
Expats with the plan.
Remember, we're doing it. You can too. And?
There's something up there. There's
videos.
Where the hell is it?
There's videos over here that you might want to watch. Next.
All I see are the Braves.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, okay.
Adios.
I'm the one that gets to say adios.
You get to say something different.
Hasta luego.
Bye.